Hello? Hi. How is the sound level inside? I tend to have a louder voice than most people. Are you guys okay in here? How about you guys in the courtyard?
Pretty good.
Okay, excellent. Hi, welcome. My name is Kristen Nelson. I am the executive director and a founder of Casa Libre. It's great to see some new faces here. We do classes and workshops and reading series and other events having to do with arts and letters. We are a nonprofit. Thank you so much for your donations at the door as you came in. If you did miss the donation box on the way in, we ask for a $5 suggested donation at the majority of our events. And all of that money goes back into our programming, keeps the lights on, keeps the sound equipment up to par. So if you're able to make a donation of 50 cents or $1 or $5, it would be greatly appreciated. Also, if you'd like to find out more about Casa Libre, please feel free to give us your name and email address, and I will add you to our monthly emails where we send out information about the events that are coming up for the month, events like these. There's also a brochure above the guest book that tells you more about our programming. Our series tonight is not in the brochure because it is brand new, and all to the credit of Bill Wetzel, who's going to come up here in a few minutes and introduce the readers as well as the series. But this is the second in our Indigenous Writers Reading Series. Casa Libre is thrilled to host it and thrilled to have you all here. Also, while I'm here and while I'm talking, there are some more seats inside the library if anybody would like to be more comfortable and be able to see our readers. If not, you should be able to hear them from outside with our speaker outside. Some of our readers and our musician, I believe, will be selling books and CDs tonight. So that table is outside, and after the reading, we will have volunteers there to help you if you need any help with that. If you have any questions about Casa Libre, I will be around all evening. Again, my name is Kristen. Please feel free to ask. I'd be happy to answer any questions. And without further ado, if you would help me to welcome Bill.
Thank you. Like I told, if you heard me in the first one, the microphone is always an adventure for me. So I'm a little vertically challenged. Anyway, I'm not going to waste too much time introducing everybody. I'm just going to get right into it. Basically, I'm going to have Simon Ortiz and Bojan Lewis are going to read. Bojan will read first, and Simon. Then Tygel Pinto is a flutist, and he's going to come up and play a song. And then he's going to play one song in here, then we'll go outside, and he's going to have a couple people assist him in his performance out there. But Simon Ortiz, he's a legendary figure in Native literature. He came about along the same wave of writers as like Scott Momaday, Jim Welch, Leslie Silko, Joy Harjo, and he's a great storyteller, and it's just great to have him here. I'm glad he agreed to do it. Bojan Lewis, he's a professor at ASU and a few other places. He's an electrician, and you see that a lot in his work. He is very diverse. He writes poetry and prose, and he's also does some book reviews and everything like that. His latest book review, he reviewed a book by a collection by Jennifer Forster that was really an amazing review, and you can see a lot of his work on my Facebook page that I set up, and a lot of Tygel's work as well. Tygel, he's a Navajo flutist, and he has a kind of a compelling story. He has quite a few interviews online and quite a few YouTube videos. And Tygel, he grew up. He was in detention centers and halfway houses, and he is a self-taught flutist. And when you hear him play, you'll realize how amazing that is. He's really a innovative performer. And he just made something of himself through music, and I'm happy to have him too. So this will be awesome. I'll just let everybody get into it, and here's Bojan Lewis.
I don't know how to work this thing. That needs to come. Sorry, I'm tall. All right, it's close enough. I'm gonna put a timer out here. This make me increasingly nervous, and what else? Yeah, I always think the more of these I do, I feel more unprepared each time. Like Bill said, I've been an electrician for 9 years and in construction for about 14. And that does show up a lot in my work. Have just recently completed this collection, and I'm ready to send it out into the world to be rejected and spat upon, and loved and cheated on, and all that good stuff. So it's called Currents, and a lot of it revolves around electrical theory and work and stuff like that. It's only taken me 10 years, so. All right, we'll start with a baptism. Baptism for the dead. Don't take my name to the water, a soul with no body to enter. The dead don't share skin with the living, no conduit between. Don't set me in afterlife. My name is my body. I also write a lot about the political climate in Arizona. I'm sure I don't have to say anything here, but when I read in other states, it's like, a lot of F-bombs.
A lot of what?
A lot of F-bombs and this guy's a stupid motherfucker, this person's stupid, stuff like that. But that's why I write. You can edit stuff and be more eloquent. If you speak to me normally, I just cuss a lot, so. This one's called Electricity. The morning roundups, a current leaking to earth, without interruption or fault. Above busted streetlights, the sun buzzes to a cuffed line of deportees, the sheriff's imbalanced authority. Any laborer gathered for a tear out agrees the pleasure of opening walls is the view of what's no longer behind. The restrained motion of a body caught within a fence run between language is a union of shock and memory. This is the title poem, Currents. So in electrical, your basic circuits are ground, a neutral, and a hot. And so a lot of these poems, there's 3 stanzas, a lot of them are written in tercets, a lot of the meters in 3s and 6s. So there's 3 of these poems with different titles. They're each 3 pages long, so with 3 sections, with 3 stanzas, broken into 3 parts. So it's like a continuous circuit, and it's a conversation between a mother, a son, and a father, and it takes place in northern Arizona, Phoenix, and Alaska. So I'll read the first one, and then I'll read the second one. So Currents. New sun asks, be nothing, have nothing. Send open your whole being. Only part of me is blessed. A body exerted after long hours, responsibility, and need to ease tremors. The last of March's welfare won't go past the 18th. Hunger pains dull month to month. We've burned the final log from February's half-chord. Son's school books claimed lost are enough to get the fire going. My youth wasn't warm enough to stone prairie dogs, skin, and eat. The drive past the flats no longer makes instant noodles cheaper. Mornings blind when throats throw heat. Stutter steps skid linoleum. Untouched eggs feed me, forget me. 2. Mom's a woman with red skin and long receipts. An aluminum facade of sparkle talk and sheen. Measuring steps, easy win, sudden guess. Sissy boys tear and candy don't take care. There isn't a nickel in any cushion. Skeletal hair remains collect all over. Red drips redder than my skin, redder than swallowed embarrassment, then slap, freezing feet. A dark hall's corner, a damask of lines. The call to mom uses, telling me I don't add up. I penguin walk and cross feet. In grass, I pull my knees up. Still, the grass grows toward me. 3. The coin fare for a crosstown bus, a rosary for time on my own. Slow approach on the upcoming stop, a heavy let, a stiffened step, on concrete, right-angled silhouettes, the butane flame dawn. The water's hot, and there's light. The home encloses the sun lost until 6:30 brings noise of traffic delays and brewing. I get little out of this. Pays ungrateful. I eat little. My eyes bulge. I don't know. The woman letting time slip. So a lot of this collection too is like a chorus, like so in like old Russian and avant-garde film, like when they filmed violence, like violent events aren't sequential, like there's no point A to B, there's like A to C to 7 to 3 to D, you know? So it's like creating a wall of bricks of sporadic, sparse images that you remember from a traumatic or violent event, so. That's how a lot of these come together. This is called Breach, and its setting is Sitka, Alaska, which is a tiny island between Ketchikan and Juneau. It's like 1,200 people. Anyway, I lived there for a year framing houses a long time ago and digging 12-foot holes in the ground. Breach. 1. It's years I've been recovered. Parents gone the way of worms, mom alone, her decision. Dad, how he was always asphyxiated until rolled over. The frontier I'm abandoned to, exposed rib cages above ground. Rained on so much there's no dust, no blowaway, traceless surfaces. With a single bag and one-way ticket, I rented the first found available. 3 bedrooms, living, kitchen, dining. Filled it with myself, every room empty except where I slept. Girls I had over, fucked to the floor, left sobered mostly. Offered other times at their places later. I accepted, then abandoned, fixed at the clinic. This high north, though not freezing, an island settlement cut off the coast, pine, spruce, and chaotic undergrowth rise up along the crescent of mountains, open toward the ocean. Rain more sky than the sky is sky. I'm not home, less interested in finding it, hours from the mainland. 2. On an outlying island, red deer wait out hunters tracking shit steam for rifle crack. Otters cut away supine through water, to humans hypothermic. The turned engine skiff on sucking mud signals the goddamn day's done. Across the still cobalt inlet, cairns line the bald rim of a sundowner volcano. Glaciers imagined against the sea heaven horizon melt when fog lifts and mist shots echo, fade into the tree line. The casings mimic pebbles. Anger defines me here in what's seen in pictures as pristine beauty, untouched by man's dirty finger, dad's belched regrets, mom's frustrated, unspoken hurt. I want recompense, solitude and forgiveness' distance, nourishment sought, cited, and put down. 3. Where a welding fails, release hollers out the soon-to-be empty space. A continent, a levee, what rises, takes. Ice given heat, like a child, spread with hands telling quiet. Ocean hefted over stern, deflates my old posture. Gone life drunk, so drowned in drink nobody wants to want me. Rare are dads shouted at by moms, get, don't feed us, sink, be eaten. Jonah's a lucky fuck, bow held and undigested. Dumb animal him, swallowed entire in warmer water. I don't believe he escaped. He's down in there still, hung from the beast's spine, feet eaten, body untouched. So when I was deciding what to read, I was like, fuck, this shit's grim. And it's like, it's pretty dark. So maybe the next collection will be like love and hope. I'll include a dog and won't die this time. This one's called Art Flash, and basically an art flash is when a wire touches an ungrounded piece of metal and explodes in your face. If any of you have ever been electricians, that happens a lot. So Art Flash. And this is one of those poems that has taken me 6 years to write because it started off as a sestina. I wanted to be a sestina, but then I wanted to be an obad, and then I just said to hell with it, and now it's done. 6 years, that's all. All day under influence and startled awake, at midnight I sought my car to kill soft snores beside me, hauled ass out of urban desert decay to sandstone cliffs 5 hours away, where centuries of wind and more recent roadway gust have half-piped its base, though not enough to topple the edge of another land's level. The stars went off and on as if wired by the hell-with-it electricians, tired of lighting scrap-patched houses connected by threads of pre-dawn smoke to invisible weavings in the sky, dim questions and silent answers. Cattle, gaunt and wanting, grazed between weeds across the valley, interrogated the dirt of wash and creek. How long you been clay after rain? How long since you been clay after rain? Hours from Phoenix, oasis greedy and artificial, I needed crystal, my dad's home, and ceremony, less familiar mountain tobacco. Not to guide my spirit, used to mornings being lit, but to remind my tongue of blood, cold coffee made by other men's women who dispel me with smokes from cheap packs set within reach on their knees. Maybe they wish, aside from my soon departure, that I shared their danger. Bastards who make home confinement and needs hush. I left and arrived months before the rainy season, though cuts along the cliff face over crystal shimmered with mica, like stars burnt out, taking eons to reveal their absence in myth-heavy constellations. The sun risen isn't for me, cattle being herded, or darkness in a room I left to wake alone. Here, a few cars idled without drivers, warmed up before the workday, while smoke from houses vanished and released the night sky.
That's great. Wonderful.
Thanks. 6 years. Feels good. This one's called which is Fire and Ashes in Navajo. And it's just actually the poem of the week at the poetry.com. It'll be up like, I think today. It's about driving, if you live in Phoenix, you just drive everywhere.
Yes.
Endless miles. The red off the far ridge, an eating dragon, slow coming down the valley. My mom's imagination over the phone, a quarter mile of cars ahead. No one has stopped on their way south or north to capture hotshots, turning the beast to smolder. Somewhere out in the burn under dusk, a rattler den unfurls fast as brush fire and clenches against the infernal draft that blocks entrance and escape. For an instant, or minutes maybe, their unnatural warmth is a comfort beneath the ablaze final day. It's the shape I'm in. I don't tell her that I will leave days from this moment, the high, dry mountain we drive towards, for the ashes of a different monster. Let's see, how much time do I got? So I've been working a lot, not a lot, but recently with the Veterans Book Project. It's an artist I met at the McDowell Colony. So I've been listening to testimonies of war vets from Iraq War, Afghanistan, Desert Storm, World War II, Vietnam. And so I'm trying to write this long essay, but I'm having trouble, so I just started writing poems to get all the noise out. And this is called The Missing Points of Design. The PT shirts, cotton thin and regulation brown, lack points, according to fit for feminine chests, make modest the curves were faulted for having by countless other soldiers and their commanders. A tradition of force older than the first poet's songs, meant for men, though it's boys who arrive ill-fit with clothes hanging off scrawny bodies, believing they're cured after basic of fear and messy hands. For most us women, our fathers encouraged us, and if not, it was to disprove some doubt, some inability ingrained in our sex. Some gals believe in the war, that to attack is to defend, or to defend is to attack. Want us to keep safe? Stay quiet. We're not natural to this push-down place of contraband titty mags, semen stiffened socks, and rape chant morale boosters meant to make enemies gray so as to fuck their wives and daughters. There's one lady sergeant hell-bent on flattening our breasts and asses so no part of us looks soft or jiggles. Those soldiers, she howls, want no part of you, but they'll take the whole of you before a battle. Those who listened regretted, and them that didn't were embittered. When we went inactive, not one of us knew who or what we were, how to dress like ladies, respond to and date courteous men who asked our names. Self-taught, I painted my apartment walls, hung them with the prints and textiles I've come to admire. Every year around autumn, I beat what is made with old for moths and discover the holes of their final wheels. I got a few more short ones. This one's called One Zone. It's about being, unemployed for a long time and working shitty jobs for no money, which we all do at some point in our lives, I think. I lived in Philadelphia and worked at a horse farm for $7 an hour. I had to be there at 4. I spent more money on gas than I did making money. This is called One Zone. It's a triptych. That whole 3 thing again. 1. Struck cold by morning sun, the decomposed crumble in rows of upturned earth. Failures given to the toiler who keeps earning less than promised. Drought these months, unfed tributaries, nourishment tilled dirt. None of it's right. Work, now, disappeared. 2. He stick frames nightmares after spring and warmth into a house he'll never own. One mansion, mosaic. Inside, what assaults him is abstracted. Mother serving rusted pennies, jagged from reckless use. Screams, though the edges aren't real, only piss relieves sweat. 3. All he does is plan how to move quick, not rush to the place where his people are sent. A moonless, sunless pitch burning fast and heavy, dried fields. Heat waves blurring memory, and trauma of seasons when thirst was a silence, kept only to crack. This one's called The Structure in Parts. Quiet hours since dawn. Casings cooled on pedestrian empty streets dried with blood. The ghosted, summoned by the sun, rise with dew to hear a photographer murmur over beads, undulate prayer. Witnesses lock themselves in against the traffic of trafficking. A crew of homeless lug buckets of water, rinse down the storm drains, pools of pomegranate seeds, spilled from the ashen limbs cut from men, unable shooters sent to return with bodies on their guns. Though begged, God has abandoned this town, others like it. A corner offers the obvious, full-leaf trees collapsed in winter. A sergeant reads cardboard jammed in the gouge of a lamppost. Manda los hombres, mantenga las cabezas. Here, beyond the wall of abyss. And one more bright and cheery one to go off with. Troubleshooting. She wasn't better off to drive, weave this paved city's grid, to lie together only, and promise on waking to search our emptiness for a way. We never made it to our beds, but hurried to her backseat, improvised the friction of our thighs, and asked blow why whiskey, morning after, claims forgiveness. I'm addicted to her, an inversion, one open neutral where current can't return through, the potential to yes, home together, pleasure, and arc off each other. Thanks.
That was good.
Guanti, how's everybody?
Good.
Good. Now, if I can get this down from Bojan height. Oops.
You got it twisted.
I think oops.
You're an electrician.
That's fine. Let's just do that. It's going to work, right? Me and technology are both challenges to each other. Thank you for coming tonight, and thank you to Bojan, and thank you to Bill for this poetry gathering. I want to read from 3 of my collections, and then part of that essay, not the whole essay because it's quite long. But I'll start with from Sand Creek, which is a book-length poem on genocide, really on history, but the United States history is very genocidal. As you may know, violence is very endemic to the U.S. as a nation, and Native American people know that very well, very distinctly and very directly. In 1974, I was an inpatient at the Veterans Administration Hospital in Fort Lyons, Colorado, Fort Lyons VA Hospital. And this is where this poem started. If I can, the light's not quite direct, but I'll try. This has a brief preface. And November 28, 1864, on that cold dawn, about 600 Southern Cheyenne and Arapaho people, 2/3 of them women and children, were camped on a bend of Sand Creek in southeastern Colorado. The people were at peace. This was expressed 2 months before by Black Kettle, one of the principal chiefs of the Cheyennes in Denver, to Governor John Evans and Colonel John W. Shivington, head of the Colorado Volunteers. I want you to give all these chiefs of the soldiers here to understand that we are for peace and that we have made peace, that we may not be mistaken for enemies. The Reverend Colonel Shivington and the volunteers and his volunteers and Fort Lyons troops, numbering more than 700 heavily armed men, slaughtered 105 women and children and 28 men. A U.S. flag presented by President Lincoln in 1863 to Black Kettle in Washington, D.C., flew from a pole above the elders' lodge on that gray dawn. The people had been reassured they would be protected by the flag. By mid-1865, the Cheyennes and Arapaho people had been driven out of Colorado Territory. This America has been a burden of steel and mad death. But look now, there are flowers and new grass and a spring wind rising from Sand Creek. The polka dot kid said, I was born dirt poor and religious in Raton, New Mexico. And 42 years later, I found myself in a Skid Row hotel in Amarillo. I thought I was in Denver. And the poem. Deranged, they were frantic enough. Never thought that guilt was a partner. Why? No reason to feel so. They burned it, and their minds like rags. Whether they reasoned is to be shielded against. Children were to be ordered. Future meant effort, hoarding. Denver was a camp of tents in 1861. The mirage would not fade. Easily enough, the wagons came on. The horizon fell behind without trace of memory, just like they came, civilized, soulless. Like other Americans, I love movies. And there were movies at the Veterans Hospital. Watching men and boys throbbed and ached helplessly. Dusty plays the piano before the movie begins. His fingers blunt themselves upon wall keys, throbbing, bullets and aches. He is mute otherwise. Memory for him rattles in dry cells. Dusty, dusty, playing for us before the movie begins. He plays and his tears are no music. Throbbing aches and bullets. Dusty was a Pueblo kid from northern New Mexico. He didn't say a word, ever. He was a combat vet from Vietnam. Men and boys and fortunes and destiny. The real winner and culprit is the Imperial One. The agents and men are only agents and men. Billy and Danny and Larry and me, we all thought we might be winners at any moment. We wandered over to casino night in a building which commanded by its presence. But it was nothing if it wasn't an army post and ghost. Before and after, there are army and appointed agents creeping among us, guiding us to destinies which are not ours. Larry said hello to an old man from World War II and Ward D, who was numb with experience. For him, reality is now no more. Larry guided him through the door, which was not a door for him, into casino night, and Danny held the door in its hinge. Larry smiled right on, and Billy, he smiled too. The old man knew he would not win. He was as fortunate as all of us. And the last poem in this, 90-page poem is, I have always loved America. It is something precious in the memory, in blood and cells, which insists on story, poetry, song, life. In the day room, the Oklahoma boy sits, sunken into the arms of a wooden and leather couch that has become his body. The structure of his life and the swirl of his mind have become lead. There is beauty in his American face, but the dread implanted by the explosive in Asia denies it. The life he now matters by is pushed away without pity by the janitor's broom which strikes his shoe. Only the corners of his eyes and the edge of his shoe know the quality of the couch he has become. It is the life he has submerged into, a dream needing a name. He has become the American, vengeful, and a wasteland of fortunes for now. And the epilogue. That dream shall have a name after all, and it will not be vengeful, but wealthy with love and compassion and knowledge, and it will rise in this heart, which is our America. And it will. This collection of poems I wrote in South Dakota, where I lived, I guess it was mid-80s. And it was winter. I wrote it all in winter, from October through March, and sometimes April, and sometimes even May, in the high, in America, in North Dakota and South Dakota. It was a prairie land, beautiful prairie land, rugged in some ways. There was a abandoned house I used to wonder about that was southeast of Winter, where the college where I worked at was located. I wrote this poem called The Story of Courage. By the highway out of Mission, going south, about 5 prairie miles, a rusty green tractor sits. Behind it on a low hill, a quarter mile away, was an abandoned house with broken walls. No windows, no doors, everything's been over for years. When was it the farmer quit, just quit one hot August afternoon, no rain for 5 years, eyes itchy from sweat, hope all lost, bills unpaid. It wasn't a question of when or how come, it just came to that. The tractor too old, engine long dying, front wheels stuck thick in useless dust, the sun blazing fiercely unjust, and he said, okay. Now the hills all around are stark with ice, the years still too long, the sun merciless, sometimes even in January, never mind August. We don't know our own power to forgive. We don't really admit the land is stubborn and brutal at times, but never in a final way. And bereft of forgiveness, we don't know why we say, okay, as if everything's over. On that highway south of Mission, a few miles, you cannot fail that farmer's last promise. Okay, let's say, this is his courageous story, or our courageous story. We never give up. This one has to do, the 3 poems have to do with when that rocket spaceship fell out of the sky. And I try to memorialize it in my own way. If we remember, sometimes we forget something so momentous as that. A savage dream. The destiny of stars boils inside the mind. The thrust of savage intent cannot be harnessed. The real dream fades away. Mankind doesn't learn much in many thousands of turns of millennia. He feeds his hope beyond the dream. Countless may be killed, but not from his dream. Only the intended power can be held to account. The stars are steady in their cycles. Destiny is within them. Dreams always as they have been. So we add only more deaths to our side, the foolish rending of our sacredness. Mankind is with the stars. The cosmic mirror shines out, not from endeavor, but praise, when there is the humility for believing in a real dream. The scene is shown on television over and over and over again. It is silent. It is distance wrought by electronic wizardry. Faces of American folk shining, joyous, triumphant, gleaming. Rockets burst on the ground. Flames and smoke push the vessel upward. The spaceship rising and rising into silence. It could be praise, it could be a blessing, or it could be sacrilege. Upward, the shining faces turn to the sky. It could be anywhere, but there it is on the Florida coast. And then in one long silent seconds, everything comes apart. It could be a dream. It could be a nightmare. Everything comes apart. Render unto God what is God's. This one belongs to Caesar. White plumes slowly rend apart. Shards of the ship plummet in slow motion. It is mad art. The sky doesn't change, and there is only the vast silence. The televised faces of American folk tremble with excitement for a while, then quaver between joy and tragedy, then break into dismay, then fall into an even deeper silence of the unaccepted, all held within the awesome moment that is creation and all life. Faces, children, their parents, old people, strangers, faces, they are before us in silence. Behold them. We are no stranger to loss, certainly. It's been our relative forever, and in this moment it is right here. Behold, and television, the wizardry that is the province of our generation, repeats it over and over and over again, and over and over again. I want to read several paragraphs of this essay that I did on photographs for a book that I edited called Beyond the Reach of Time and Change, which was published by the University of Arizona Press. And there are books out there on the table, this is commercial, out there on the table which belong to me and also Bojan. And you are welcome to browse, and you are welcome to pick up and buy if you wish. And I'll sign my books, and I'm sure Bojan will will too. This is History is Right Now, and about 4 paragraphs from this essay about photography, about images of indigenous peoples. When I was a boy, there was a black and white snapshot that I used to stare at the wall of my grandma's and grandpa's home at Acoma. I realized now I was fascinated by it, not just because of what was portrayed in the snapshot. My grandpa, probably in his 30s or 40s, standing beside a canvas tent near which was a sawhorse draped with a dark animal hide that grandpa claimed was a buffalo robe, since he was, quote, a great buffalo hunter. He said so in the famous way that Pueblo grandpas have when talking to their grandsons. But because of the Indian image I had begun to wonder about, because of the Indian image I had begun to wonder about, even when I was just a young lad or kid, this wondering had been precipitated by exposure to the image in elementary school books and the few popular magazines like Reader's Digest and Voice Life that infrequently came into our home. I saw the pictures of Indians on horseback in pursuit of thundering buffalo, or Indian warriors standing on a horizon in a magnificent desert landscape, or perhaps the pictures were illustrations of traditional teepees that Indian people of the plains cultures used as dwellings. And like any child of elementary school age, I'd been drawn to them because they were usually positive portrayals of Indian culture that mostly emphasized the best of Indian life. But there was something else. What was inferred was something so long ago it was merely memory, although a beautiful memory, and something so long ago it wasn't real. That is, there was something unreal about the memory and the image. It was beautiful but not real, at least not in the immediate, concrete, and intimate sense. And there was a further something else. This had to do with Indians hunting buffalo, which I had never actually seen or knew anything about except what I'd learned from books and magazines and maybe the movies. The Indians portrayed in those pictures, usually book and magazine illustrations based on the popular image of the Indians, were Indians I did not know. They were usually not Acoma Pueblo Indians. They were always from a different, unfamiliar, and unknown Indian culture and place. Yet the suggestion, inference, and connotation was that I be familiar with them, that I identify with them simply because they were Indian and I was Indian. Simple and simplistic as that. To identify with them was awkward and uncomfortable, but I did, more or less, although feeling forced into accepting that image by association. In his essay in this anthology, Ned Blackhawk says about the murals of Indians at his school that he was forced to live with them. That's how we end up forced to live with them, forced to live with images we don't like. It didn't matter who the Indians were. They could have been Martian Indians for all I knew. I was expected or forced to identify with them. Identifying with such visual and narrative images virtually against our will results in an unusual concept of the Indian self, which further results in a sense of unreality as an Indian. At a young age, unable to articulate concerns and questions I had about this sense of unreality, I felt vastly awkward and uncomfortable. What takes place is a feeling of self-doubt as an Indian, simply or chiefly because you're expected to be an Indian and to have and respect Indian culture and all that goes with it. But if a sense of unreality as an Indian, quote unquote, is part of it, then obviously there is going to be much awkwardness and discomfort. hence self-doubt and perhaps in some instances outright denial of Indian ethnicity and subsequent identification with more acceptable ethnic cultural groups such as Hawaiians, Asians, Italians, Chicanos, Vietnamese, which I admit has happened to me. Denial of ethnic identity and substitution for passing is emotionally devastating, and needless to say, there are many instances of this kind of personal and social trauma experienced by Indian people. Those 4 passages. And then I want to finish up with a couple of poems that are at the end of Woven Stone. This book, by the way, is being published in China, in Chinese. I don't read Chinese, so I wouldn't know what it's about, right?
What's the name of
Well,
the book?
it would be about my book.
What's
with,
the name of the book?
The poems.
The book?
Woven Stone.
Woven Stone.
Woven Stone. The first book of it, Going for the Rain, is being published actually this spring with Tsinghua University in Beijing. This poem is a song as well. It will come, it will come. Haita mo ka, haita mo ka, haita mo ka. Where from is it thundering? Where from is it thundering? Where from is it thunder, thunder, thundering? Thundering, the people working. Thundering, the people's voices. Thundering, the movement of the struggle. Thundering, the power of the land. Thundering, the coming rain. It will come, it will come. With compassion, with courage, with unity, with understanding, with love, we shall endure, we shall go on, we shall have victory, we shall know living, we shall know living. And the last poem is actually a new story. This is these are older poems, and this is the best oldie of the top 40, okay? A new story. Several years ago, reverts back to the VA hospital experience. Actually, I was in numbers of, I'm a recovered alcoholic and other past lives. And I've been sober for the past 19 years. So this is a new story, truly. Several years ago, I was a patient at the VA hospital in Fort Lyons, Colorado. I got a message to call this woman, so I called her up. She said to me, "I'm looking for an Indian. Are you an Indian?" "Yes," I said. "Oh, good," she said. "I'll explain why I'm looking for an Indian." And she explained, "Every year we put on a parade in town, a Frontier Day parade. It's exciting and important. But we have a lot of participation." "Yes," I said. "Well," she said, "our theme is frontier and we try to do it well. In the past we used to make up papier-mâché Indians, but that was years ago." "Yes," I said. "And then more recently we had some people who dressed up as Indians to make it more authentic, you understand. Real people." "Yes," I said. "Well," she said, "that didn't seem right. But we had a problem. There was a lack of Indians." "Yes," I said. "This year we wanted to do it right. We have looked hard and high for Indians, but there didn't seem to be any in this part of Colorado." "Yes," I said. "We want to make it real, you understand. Put a real Indian on a float, not just a papier-mâché dummy or an Anglo dressed as an Indian, but a real Indian with feathers and paint. Maybe even a medicine man. Yes, I said. And then we learned the VA hospital had an Indian here. We were so happy, she said, happily. Yes, I said, there are several of us here. Oh, good, she said. Well, the next spring I got another message at the college where I worked. I called the woman. She was so happy that I returned her call. And then she explained that Sir Francis Drake, the English pirate, she didn't say that, I did, was going to land on the coast of California in June again. And then she said she was looking for Indians. No, I said, no. Thank you. And that's when I began to write from Sanskrit, or shortly around that time. Well, we have music.
We can take a minute or two break while Tygel gets ready.
Yes.
I stood too long.
You what? Oh, you stood too long. You
I
okay?
stood too long, yeah. I ran a marathon, half marathon last week.
You did?
You're kidding.
And
That's
so
amazing.
my feet are still
Oh my
throbbing.
God. You were running a marathon?
a half marathon.
This Indians,
Oh,
man. I'm telling you, we should go for higher.
Wow.
Well, that's a pretty good
Can you guys hear me out there?
explanation for how long
You're
they ran. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Incredible. Hi there.
Hi, how are you doing?
Great.
Give me 1 second. I just have to feng shui my area here. That is not helping.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I love it. That's great, yeah. I'm gonna look at the books after.
Sorry, I know it's abrasive at first. Just give me a second. All right, hold on. Can you guys hear me out there? Give me a whoop whoop or something so I know you guys can hear me out there. All right, cool. All right, my name is Tygel Pinto. She'e Tygel Pinto yinishye, kure cheat ni ainish, le, cut na zatni a bashishchin, hash klish ni a dashiche, tabahe a dashanale, akot ego denetsiv kidnish, le. My name is Kyle Pinto, but I go by Tygel. That is a name that I have been given since I was little, and it's just something I went with. I'm from Crystal, New Mexico. I'm born for the Bitterwater clan, and I'm born to the Tygel clan. The clan system is something that has been put into use for the Navajo Nation after the long walk. Because we went from millions upon millions upon millions of people to just a few thousands. And because of that, our bloodline had been thinned. So the clan system was put into place so that the inbreeding wasn't possible. If you were to look at another lady and go, hey, what's up? What's your name? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I saw that laugh. All right. They'll turn around and they'll say, what's your clans? Say, this is my clans, all 4 of them. And if the first 2 match up, or even like the second 2 in some weird way, and you were deemed cousins, that was the end of it. That was it. You're friends. You're in the friend zone. So everybody hates the dreaded friend zone, but that's what happened. It is true, yes, I have been in the juvenile detention center growing up. It was something that has made me the person I am today. But my life has always been devoted to music. Music is something that, it's universal. There's nothing you can say about it. Every culture had music. Everybody knows music. You hear a tone, even if you can't say if it's an F sharp, it's a B, it's a G, it's a suspended C. You know it's music. And that's what I do. I play my music to bring people together. So if you guys are here listening, you don't be content with just sitting there listening to the beat going, oh yeah, this cat's cool. All right, let's do this. Talk to your neighbor, get to know each other. Because the best thing about this world, best thing about being human beings is you get to talk. Not a lot of us get to. from Crystal, New Mexico, born for the bitter water, born to the tangle. I've been here in Tucson for about 10, going on 11 years. What I have to say about Tucson, I love the people. I'm a little tired of the construction, but I'm pretty sure everybody else is too, right? But yes, I'm glad that you enjoy the music. I will be performing outside as well with a couple of my other friends, and feel free to get to know each other. Have fun. What we are here for, we're never going to be able to do again. This is a one-time thing. It's our moment. Live it. Have fun. You know what I'm talking about. So all we'll do is we'll be that silhouette in the background telling you with our lyricists. Our musical numbers, I guess you can say. Not really lyrics, because I have nothing to say besides welcome.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Where are you from in New Mexico?
Crystal?
What is that?
Between Fort Defiance. Okay, cool. We will be back. Bathroom break.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, you should stick around. We got my friend Tygel on the Navajo flute. It's pretty sweet. My friend Nigel is playing on the Navajo flute. He just he went inside for basketball. He told me he's Navajo.
Yeah, he's definitely Navajo. Look at him, dude.
So you just busting out some we can
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What are you still in F?
I'm still in F for we can do whatever.
Yeah, we can change G.
G?
Yeah.
Let's do G.
Well, I don't care.
Give me something. You guys start something up. I'll come in.
I don't know if that actually, but I know
Go for it. Dude, I killed the cord on that one.
You kill one? Yeah, we killed the cord. You guys want to do one more? You guys get want to do one more? Yeah, let's do one more.
Yeah, no, let's do one more.
I can do one more. Yeah. All right, let's do one if you want to do it.
Here, can I tell you a bass feel? Hang on.
What key is that one?
The F sharp.
That's the F sharp.
Boom, 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 3, 4. Got it?
Great job, Bill. Very good. Great job.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Introduce yourselves, guys.
Oh,
This is Ryan.
this is Gordon. This is Ian Gordon.
And I'm Tygel Pinto. Thank you for coming out tonight, guys. It was a pleasure playing for you all.